There's a certain type of person who pulls up in what looks like a perfectly ordinary car. No aggressive body kit, no chrome exhaust tips, no badge screaming a six-figure price tag. They park it, they get out, and nobody gives it a second glance. But the moment you open that door and sink into the seat, something shifts. The air inside smells different. The materials feel different. The silence is almost unsettling. And slowly, it dawns on you. This thing costs more than most people's first homes, and you had absolutely no idea from the outside. This is the world of the deliberately understated luxury car. And it is, without question, the most interesting corner of the automotive universe. Let's start with the car that essentially invented this category, the Volvo S90. On the surface, it reads as a sensible Scandinavian sedan. Clean lines, restrained proportions, nothing that demands attention on the street. You'd walk past it in a parking lot without a second thought. Then you sit inside, and the game changes entirely. The dashboard is dressed in open-pore wood that feels like it belongs in a Nordic architect's living room. The seats are wrapped in a wool blend the first way out, and the classic Ford breaks of size, healthy, and meat. Once the woodworm light is death, the color is not simpler. All the way from the size with the seats working well in winter wall, the size with the sun. The ambient lighting is soft and considered. The sound system tuned by Bowers & Wilkins plays music the way a concert hall plays music, with air and dimension and depth. Nothing inside this car is accidental. Every material choice was agonized over. And yet outside, it simply looks like a well-dressed commuter sedan. That gap between exterior expectation and interior reality is precisely the point. Then there's the Genesis G90. For years, Genesis has been quietly making the strongest argument in a luxury car space that nobody is paying enough attention to. The G90 from the outside is handsome, certainly, but it carries the restrained confidence of a car that doesn't need to prove anything. No ostentatious grille the size of a swimming pool. No aggressive haunches flaring dramatically over the wheel arches. It just sits there, composed and unassuming. Step inside and you find one of the most extraordinary interiors ever constructed at any price point. Quilted leather that covers every surface. A fragrance system that gently perfumes the cabin. Rear seats that recline to nearly horizontal, with footrests, heating, cooling, and a massage function that would embarrass most five-star hotel spas. The attention to detail inside a G90 rivals what you get from German marques charging twice the price. On the outside, it simply doesn't announce that. And some buyers, the right buyers, love it for exactly that reason. The Lexus LS is another master of this particular deception. The current generation LS is a genuinely beautiful car in person, but beautiful in a quiet way, a way that rewards closer inspection rather than demanding it from across a parking lot. It doesn't wear its price on its face, but inside, the level of craftsmanship borders on the obsessive. There's a trim option called Kiriko glass, a traditional Japanese cut glass technique applied to the interior accents. That alone takes skilled artisans hours to produce by hand. The Takumi craftspeople at Lexus, master craftsmen who have spent decades perfecting single skills, spend thousands of hours assembling these interiors. The stitching, the wood grain alignment, the way every surface meets every other surface with zero visible tolerance gap. It's not just luxury, it's a philosophy. It reflects a culture that treats making things well as a form of respect, both for the material and for the person who will eventually live with it. None of that reads from the outside. It simply looks like a large, well-proportioned Japanese sedan. Now consider the Mercedes Maybach S-Class, which, to be fair, some people do recognize. But compared to what you'd expect for a car that starts north of $200,000, it is remarkably composed on the outside. A longer wheelbase, some subtle chrome, a small Maybach badge on the C-pillar. That's it. The drama is entirely reserved for the interior, and a headliner embedded with hundreds of hand-placed fiber optic stars that glow softly above you. The cabin of a Maybach feels like a first-class suite that someone figured out how to mount on wheels. And yet, following it through traffic, you might simply think, nice Mercedes. There's also the Rolls-Royce Ghost, which occupies a fascinating position in this conversation. Rolls-Royce itself describes the Ghost as a post-opulent vehicle, a car designed for buyers who've moved past the need to show what they have. It is, by Rolls-Royce standards, understated. Compared to the Phantom, it appears almost modest. The Ghost's exterior is clean, architectural, restrained. Inside, however, Rolls-Royce has developed something they call the Starlight Headliner. 1,340 individually threaded fiber optic lights hand-woven into the ceiling by craftspeople at the Goodwood factory. The interior is constructed with a layer of acoustic material that makes the cabin one of the quietest places you can occupy while moving at speed. The aluminum structure visible when you open the door is itself a sculptural element, polished and finished to a standard that would pass quality control as a piece of museum-grade metalwork. This is a car built with the explicit intention of making only the people inside it aware of what it truly is. And that, ultimately, is what connects all of these cars. They are not built for the street. They are not built for the photograph or the passing glance. They are built for the person sitting inside them, and only that person. They represent a different philosophy of luxury, one that is not about performance, not about spectacle, not about communicating status to strangers. It is about the private, personal experience of occupying a space that has been made with absolute care and integrity. The satisfaction is inward. The audience is you. There's something almost countercultural about this, in an era where everything is curated for external validation, where the point of an expensive object is often the reaction it gets from other people. These cars reject that entirely. They say, the person who matters is the one sitting inside. Everyone else can walk on by and think it's a regular sedan. That's fine. Better, even. Because real luxury, it turns out, was never about being seen. It was always about how something makes you feel in the moments no one else is watching. These cars understand that completely. And the second you sit inside one of them, so will you. Say, the person who matters is the one sitting inside. Everyone else can walk on by and think it's a regular sedan. That's fine. Better, even. Because real luxury, it turns out, was never about being seen. It was always about how something makes you feel in the moments no one else is watching. These cars understand that completely. And the second you sit inside one of them, so will you.